Yo, whatever you're doing, pause it right now. Because what just unfolded involving Cardi B is the kind of moment nobody saw coming, and nobody was ready to process in real time. For weeks, she had been the human embodiment of unbothered energy. Silent, calculated, radiating confidence while dominating her tour like Stefon Diggs never even existed, like he'd faded into a ghost from a past life she'd already buried. But then she went live and dropped a sentence that didn't just stir conversation, it froze the entire internet mid-scroll. And the second you hear what she actually said, once you dig into the chilling context behind why she said it, what pushed her there, and every messy, tangled detail that built up to that exact moment, it will completely rewire how you view this entire situation. Because this is no longer just another celebrity breakup playing out in public. This is about repeated patterns, emotional warfare, betrayal so deep it echoes, and a woman who has survived this exact nightmare once before and made a silent promise to herself that she would never, ever live through it again. So don't go anywhere. Because we're about to unravel the entire Stefon Diggs cheating scandal from the very first spark to the moment everything combusted, and break down exactly what made Cardi B finally reach her breaking point. But to understand why this implosion hit the way it did, we need to rewind all the way back to where the illusion began. May 2025, that's when Cardi B and Stefon Diggs finally stepped into the spotlight as a couple. And on the surface, it looked like divine timing. Like exactly the kind of redemption arc she deserved after clawing her way out of a toxic, emotionally draining 7-year marriage to Offset. Because in those early days, Stefon said everything a healing heart longs to hear. He looked her in the eye and told her, "Let me help you heal. Let me show you what real love actually feels like." And at first, he delivered. He showed up. He supported her publicly. He made himself present in ways that felt intentional. Cardi started glowing again, visibly lighter, emotionally softer. The internet rallied behind her like she'd finally won her happy ending. Fans were relieved to see her with someone who seemed to genuinely value her, not just survive off her spotlight. By June, Cardi B officially confirmed the relationship herself. By September, she was seated across from Gayle King on CBS Mornings, announcing her pregnancy live on national television, smiling in a way that suggested hope had finally found her again. She spoke about new beginnings, clean slates, fresh chapters waiting to be written. By November, their baby boy had entered the world, and through every single step of it all, Cardi was front row, literally and emotionally, showing up to every New England Patriots game in brutal cold weather, posting about Stefon Diggs nonstop, riding hard as his loudest defender. When that strangulation charge surfaced in December and the world told her to run, she stayed. She defended him publicly. She poured herself fully into the relationship, emotionally, mentally, even reputationally. But behind the carefully curated Instagram posts and sideline appearances, something far more complicated was unfolding. Because while Cardi B was investing her future into this man, Stefon Diggs was quietly juggling multiple unresolved realities. He had 6 children with 5 different women, and here's the part that hits differently. 4 of those babies were born in 2025 alone. Take a second to process that. 4 children. 1 year. 4 separate women, and one of them, Kiki, welcomed her child in September. Just 2 months before Cardi's baby arrived in November. Now suddenly, the timelines don't just overlap, they collide. The math becomes uncomfortable. The pattern becomes impossible to ignore. And the story it tells? It's one Stefon clearly hoped nobody would slow down long enough to calculate, which brings us to the night everything detonated. Because February 8th, 2026, Super Bowl Sunday, wasn't just about football. That was the night the truth finally caught up with everybody. The New England Patriots are going head-to-head with the Seattle Seahawks at Levi's Stadium. This was supposed to be Stefon's defining moment, his Super Bowl, his shot at cementing himself under the brightest lights in American sports history, with Cardi B standing proudly in his corner as his emotional backbone. But from the very first second that day began to unfold, something felt off, tense, like a storm forming that nobody else could see yet. A reporter approaches Cardi before kickoff and casually asks if she has an inspirational message for Stefon ahead of the biggest game of his life. And this same woman, who had been screaming his name from the sidelines all season, defending him through scandal after scandal, stares directly into the camera and says, "Good luck." No smile, no excitement, no affection. Then she walks off like she's already grieving something the rest of the world hasn't discovered yet. Just 2 words. Ice cold. Emotionless. Final. And instantly, the internet knew something had shattered long before the game ever began. Then the game starts, and it's a complete disaster. The Patriots lose 29-13. Stefon Diggs is practically non-existent on the field. No touchdowns. No standout plays. Arguably the worst performance of his entire career on the single most important night of it. But while everything is collapsing on the turf, Something even messier is unraveling in the stands, because sitting in that same stadium, Kiki, Stefon's baby mama, is there with their son, front and center, posting non-stop on her Instagram stories, proudly wearing his jersey like she's part of the official narrative, making sure the entire world knows she's present. 2 months after Cardi gave birth to his child, Kiki shows up to the Super Bowl like she's claiming territory, and it doesn't stop there. Another woman, Pri, who has allegedly been tied to Stefon's past, is reportedly spotted inside the stadium too. This time appearing to have actual Patriots credentials. So now, potentially in the same building, on the same night, at the biggest sporting event on earth, you've got Cardi, Kiki, and Pri. Then suddenly, whispers start circulating online. Unverified, but persistent. Claims that Stefon allegedly snuck another woman into his hotel room just hours after the loss. Not even 60 minutes after the final whistle blew. Meanwhile, Cardi B had already left the stadium right after halftime. Reports later surfaced that she'd spent nearly $1.2 million planning an exclusive Super Bowl after party, and then abruptly canceled it. Gone. Just like that. Because deep down, she already knew. By sunrise the next morning, both of them had quietly unfollowed each other on Instagram. Entertainment Tonight confirms through an inside source that they've officially broken up. Cardi posts done, and just like that, the relationship is finished. At least in public, but privately? That's where the real damage was unfolding, because while the world watched her make a clean, unbothered exit, what they didn't see was everything she was trying to process behind closed doors. And according to insiders extremely close to Cardi, this situation hit her harder than anyone realized, for one devastating reason. It felt exactly like Offset all over again. Think about it. 7 years of betrayal. 7 years of cheating rumors turning into public humiliation. 7 years of broken promises that she kept convincing herself to believe. She finally escaped that nightmare in July 2024. Took 6 full months to heal. Then chose Stefon because he promised he would be different, but sources claim Cardi began realizing slowly at first, and then all at once during that Super Bowl night, that she hadn't escaped the cycle at all. She had simply walked out of one cheating situation and straight into another, that the man who swore he would help her heal carried the exact same level of disrespect she once endured with Offset. Different face, different jersey, same pattern, and according to people close to her, that realization didn't just break her heart, it broke her tolerance. Not because she loved Stefon so deeply she couldn't imagine life without him, but because of what it symbolized about the loop she'd been trapped inside for years. She gave Offset 7 years. She was never going to give Stefon 7 more. She refused flat out to relive the same toxic storyline with a different man playing the lead role this time. What she learned from Offset was brutal, but necessary. Staying in a situation where you're constantly being disrespected doesn't make you loyal. It just makes you someone who's learned to tolerate disrespect as normal. And according to sources, this exact realization has been dominating the conversations happening inside Cardi's inner circle. Insiders claim she sat down with her closest friends and family and admitted how disturbingly familiar everything felt. Like déjà vu she never asked for. The overlapping women. The subtle disrespect playing out during major public moments. The suffocating feeling of being humiliated in front of millions when you're supposed to feel supported instead. With Offset, it happened at award shows. Red carpets. Industry events. With Stefon, it happened at the Super Bowl, different stage. Same embarrassment, and sources say it was that eerie parallel that made Cardi's decision feel immediate and irreversible this time around. Because with Offset, she hesitated. She doubled back. She listened to apologies, believed promises, and kept hoping things would eventually change. But this time, Cardi B walked away instantly. No emotional Instagram lives. No messy back and forth. No waiting around for explanations that might never come. She saw everything she needed to see that night at the Super Bowl, and she made her decision right there in real time. People close to her say that level of decisiveness, the ability to leave without turning back even once, is something Cardi herself views as undeniable proof of just how much she's evolved since the Offset era ended. Now here's the moment that sent the entire internet into meltdown mode. Because while Cardi was quietly trying to process everything behind the scenes, something happened in public that forced her to address it all, in the most unapologetically Cardi B way imaginable. Her rap rival, BIA, who has been locked in an ongoing feud with her, jumped onto X after footage of Cardi performing started circulating online. And instead of keeping it neutral, BIA decided to escalate things. She posted, "Can you name someone with more baby mamas than receiving yards?" A direct shot at Stefon's complicated family situation, and by extension, a public jab at Cardi for ever choosing to be with him. And Cardi, she wasn't about to let that slide. At her Los Angeles tour stop, right in the middle of her set. She suddenly halted the entire performance. The music cut. The crowd went silent. And in a moment insiders claim was completely unscripted, something raw that came straight from her chest, she grabbed the mic and spoke. She said, "Let me tell you something. Just because I ain't, __, with my baby daddy doesn't mean you get to talk about my baby daddy. __, this for you." Then, without missing a beat, she launched directly into performing her diss track Pretty and Petty, aimed squarely at BIA, and that was the confirmation. Not tears, not breakdowns, but truth delivered in front of thousands of people watching her live, confirming the split, defending the father of her child, and drawing a firm, unmistakable boundary, all in one breath, because that's who Cardi B is. She doesn't collapse the way people expect her to. She speaks, she performs, she commands the room. But sources say behind that power, behind the fierce delivery and stage presence, there were real tears being shed in private. Real heartbreak. Real late-night conversations with people she trusts about how deeply betrayed she felt, about how she allowed herself to open up again after the damage Offset left behind, only to get burned in a hauntingly similar way. And insiders claim she's been extremely emotional behind closed doors, even while maintaining a composed front in public. The people around her have reportedly become fiercely protective of that vulnerability, because they know exactly how much she's endured to even get this far. What makes this scandal cut deeper than the usual celebrity gossip cycle is what it actually represents. Because Cardi B isn't just another woman navigating a messy breakup in the spotlight, she's someone whose relationship trauma has been publicly dissected for years. Someone whose pain has been turned into headlines, debates, think pieces, and viral content. Someone who's been told when to leave, when to stay, when to forgive, when to fight, everything except the one thing that mattered most. Trust yourself. She might not be involved with her baby daddy romantically anymore, but he's still her baby daddy. And that deserves respect. Two truths can exist at once. She can be completely done with him emotionally and still choose to protect the father of her child from public ridicule. Because her son deserves to grow up with a father who isn't constantly being dragged through the mud online. That's not weakness. That's a mother thinking long term. And while BIA received diss track energy from Cardi, insiders say Stefon reportedly got something else entirely: distance. Sources claim she's keeping everything strictly about co-parenting now. No drama. No vague public statements. No engagement with his alleged attempts to reconnect. Just clean, firm, emotionally healthy boundaries for the sake of their son. Because that's the real growth from the Offset era. With Offset, it took 7 years to establish boundaries. With Stefon, it took one Super Bowl night. Anyway, that brings us to the end of today's video. Make sure you subscribe to LoafTube for more celebrity updates and turn on that post notification bell so you never miss a future upload. Until next time, see you in the next one. Heat. Heat.